If you've been scrolling through endless lists of Barber chairs, comparing extra wide to vintage look, and still feel like you're staring at a wall of options, this review is here to cut through the noise. I've spent a good chunk of time looking at what real salons actually need, reading up on the little details that often get lost in glossy pictures, and thinking about the cost-comfort balance that every owner worries about. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Pibbs 662 King isn't just another chair that promises professional grade. It's built around an extra-wide seat, a removable headrest, and a kick-out footrest that together try to blend that classic barbershop vibe with the durability you'd expect from a modern piece of equipment. The big question, though, is whether those features actually translate into smoother daily operations or whether they're just marketing flourishes that end up feeling like extra steps. Let's picture a typical day in a mid-sized barbershop. You've got a mix of clients, a teenager getting a buzz cut, a gentleman with a thick beard, and a tall customer who can't quite fit into a standard seat. The chair you choose has to accommodate that variety without making anyone feel cramped or uncomfortable, and it has to hold up after countless recline cycles and weight shifts. That's the real test for the Pibbs 662 King. The extra-wide seat is, as the name suggests, noticeably broader than the average salon chair. For larger clients, that extra room can make a big difference. In practice, you'll notice less shifting when a tall client leans back, and the wider base helps distribute weight more evenly, which can be a subtle but important factor when you're working long hours. If your clientele includes a lot of plus-size customers, or you simply want to give everyone a little more personal space, the added width feels like a genuine benefit rather than a gimmick. The removable headrest is another feature that shows up often in the product description. In a busy shop, being able to detach the headrest quickly can speed up turnover between appointments, especially for haircuts that don't require a headrest at all. I've seen stylists appreciate the flexibility of popping it off for quick trims and snapping it back on for longer services that need neck support. That said, the mechanism isn't a click-and-go system. You have to lift and align it, which takes a second or two. In a high-traffic environment, that might add up, but it's a small trade-off for the added versatility. The chrome recline lever feels solid in the hand. It offers a smooth arc from upright to fully reclined, which is useful when you're moving between a simple shave and a more involved facial treatment. The lever's position on the right side matches the typical layout of most chairs, so you won't be reaching across the client. One practical point: the lever can be a little stiff at the start of the motion, especially if the chair hasn't warmed up after being idle for a while. After a few cycles it loosens up, but you should factor in that initial resistance if you're planning to use it for rapid recline during a busy morning rush. The kick-out footrest is the sort of detail that can feel either handy or fiddly, depending on how you use it. When you need a client's feet out of the way for a close-up shave, the footrest swings away cleanly, giving you unobstructed access. For longer hair services, you can let it stay in place, and it provides a stable platform for the client's legs. The downside is that the footrest mechanism adds a bit of extra height to the overall chair profile, which might make it harder to fit into a cramped backroom or a salon with low ceilings. Measure your space before committing. The chair's vintage styling is appealing, but you don't want to end up bumping heads on the frame. Now let's talk about the vintage style with modern durability claim. Aesthetic-wise, the Pibbs 662 King nails that retro barbershop feel with its chrome accents and classic silhouette. It's the sort of piece that can become a focal point in your shop, adding a touch of nostalgia that many clients appreciate when they walk in. The durability side, however, is where the rating of 3.7 stars from roughly 190 reviewers starts to matter. While the chair's metal frame looks robust, a few owners have mentioned that the upholstery shows wear a bit sooner than they'd hoped, especially in high-traffic corners. If you're planning to keep the chair for several years and you expect heavy daily use, you might want to budget for an occasional reupholster or a protective cover. Price is another practical consideration. The Pibbs 662 King sits in a mid-range bracket, not cheap enough to be a starter chair, but not as high-end as some boutique models that charge a premium for handcrafted wood frames. For a salon that wants a solid, visually appealing chair without breaking the bank, it hits a reasonable sweet spot. However, if you're a brand new